memories of former times being here, long ago and less long ago, and especially to the people, because I've been working together with many of your colleagues and with two of people that are present here. We have even been writing papers together, publications together, doing especially field work, not within the building but in Rabat or in Taimir. So, but I will be talking about something different now, again about the European Union. The starting point, land use intensity. How can we map land use intensity? Well, you can take the satellite images, you can take maps, but can you find then land use intensity? How much fertilizer is being given? How much diesel is used in the engines and the tractors of working in the fields? You cannot see that from the aerial photos. Maybe a little bit. After some time you can see that the parcels are bigger and the changes are there, but that's maybe only 10 years later, 15 years later. So what we did in a European project with very sophisticated modeling on 1 kilometer square basis, we combined all that sort of data with cadastral data, with statistical data of agriculture, and then we came to this map, which is an approximation, because it's on a European level, and if you would zoom in, it would probably be different anyway. But what we see is that there are hotspots of land use intensification, where there's a lot of more energy put into the agriculture, more production, more input, more capital input, and more product output. There's also places where there's a strong decrease of land use intensity. Well, you can say that's the areas where land use abandonment is taking place. People leave the area because the soils are not good enough, because it's too far from the market. So you can see in all of the countries you have those hotspots of land use intensification and hotspots of land use de-intensification or extensification. And that is really a sort of starting point of this bigger European project, where the question was, okay, but if this is taking place and it's so difficult to make a picture of it, to exactly know the processes, how could we influence that? How could we develop a policy to get somewhere in the future where we know, okay, but where this well, in Poland, for instance, you see extensification. Is that what we want? Or does the Polish Ministry of Agriculture and the Polish Ministry of Economy needs to do something? But you see also in France, there are parts that are de-intensifying and there are parts where are intensification. And I will show you now some other maps. What is the consequence of that? H and V stands for high nature value. High nature value, biodiversity, a lot of different plant species in the fields of the farmer, a lot of different animal species, a lot of soil biodiversity in the same place. There's a lot of attention to this high nature value because it's important for biodiversity, for ecosystem functioning of the European area. And you see that high nature value farming is being lost by urban expansion. We've been talking about land use planning also for metropolitan areas. Urban expansion is urban sprawl. It takes over part of the agriculture which was really high value nature. Especially in Spain, you see almost everywhere, but also in Turkey and in Poland, but also in the Netherlands. So that is worrying a little bit. And maybe it's not too much of percentage, like 0.1%, but if this adds up for 6 years, if you calculate that for 100 years, well, a lot of loss. Well, where am I now? Yes. This, where can you, yes. Another example is this agricultural intensification that is leading to the same type of loss. And you see that it's partly in the same countries. So intensification also leads to a decrease of ecosystem functioning of high nature value. Well, this was this project, a large collaborative project in the European Commission. Lots of universities, lots of modeling work, 20 case studies, you see the stars, and we did a lot of real scientific work for that. But that was not the most important. What is important is that we had a very large committed stakeholder community. We said we want to know from stakeholders, that is governors, that is directors of big industries like Bayer or Santos or Electricité de France, well, the guys that really make a difference in policy also. So also the people from the Commission, but also NGOs like World Wildlife Fund. We put them together in a room and exercised with them with gaming. What is the landscape that you would like to have in 20 years from now? Well, presume you have the same age as today, but it is 20 years later. What type of landscape would you like to have? Well, everyone said, and this is not so very surprising, well, I would like to have a nice landscape. Like a little bit of this, a little bit of trees and fields and meadows, and there should be agriculture, and I should be able to buy some milk at the farm. I would like to buy my products in a shop not too far away, but also not too near. We would like to live together with other neighbors, nice neighbors, etc. Well, the type of landscape that you would like to live in. If you would not live, well, downtown in Moscow, you would also like to live somewhere where there is a little bit of green, wouldn't you? We exercised it and we came to the conclusion everyone wants that sort of landscape. A little bit multifunctional. So not only agriculture, not only shopping, not only industry, but a combination of that. And that's where we come back to these topics of the Wageningen University. Well, that's exactly what we're aiming at. It is not a sectoral type of development that we promote, but it is working together. The third example, also agricultural extensification, is damaging high nature value. Because if you leave the land, well, to be overgrown, well, maybe in the first few years there will be higher diversity because there's almost pioneer plants coming in. But after 10 years, this will be homogenized. Well, the biodiversity will increase maybe after 200 years, but not very, very soon. So that was the starting point. And you see, the Netherlands again is a very bad example. There is a need for a vision. For what kind of future would we like to have? We had those stakeholders, and they were committed stakeholders. We got them back in other meetings again after 2 months, and then again after 2 months to define strategies, to define visions for the future in workshops, and we came to 3 consolidated visions, where this multifunctionality was on a very small scale, on an average scale, or on a larger scale. We worked very intensively together in sketching that, and then we tried to model them, to calculate on the basis of scenarios of the International Panel for Climate Change, the IPCC. We have 4 economic scenarios. We try to identify pathways to that future. We had best land in Europe, so there's an optimization structure, based pretty much on global market economy, but still, you see a lot of different land uses at the same place. The regional connected, which is already a little bit less large scale, living closer to the environment. And the last one is local multifunctional, where we think, well, okay, the global market, let them do what they do, but we want to live together, community-based, bottom-up. How can we reach the desired visions of land use then? From the current land use, we would like them to get to some measure of multifunctionality in the land use. And it can be a little bit more intensified, like in the best land of Europe, or it can be, on the other extreme, a local multifunctional. But if you would go outside of that, well, this is not what we want. So then we try to identify the policies, like the agricultural policy, or the energy policy, or the environmental policy, that would be able to change the pathway to the future. So agriculture could be organized in a less commodifying way, in a less globalized, market-oriented way. It could be a little bit more, say, regionally connected. And we try to identify within the existing policies what is the range of the span of control that we could have there. And we discussed that with the policymakers in Brussels and in the different countries. And then we identified what would be the consequences for that, either in forest policy, for instance, or in nature policy, and what would be the effect of the different scenarios of this IPCC. And you can quantify this in different ways, and we have done this, and you can also look it up on the website. We also identified the displacement effects, because we can focus on Europe, but we all know that we import a lot of goods like soya, like all kinds of other stuff for our feedstuff, for the cattle or for the pigs, that damage the environment in the other countries. So we said, well, we should take this into consideration, the displacement effects, and they have been increasing in 10 years' time quite a lot. We then calculated also per square kilometer basis the impact on common and endangered species, because in Europe you have a policy of biodiversity conservation based on endangered species. This is in the perspective going with the flow, say the most economically globalized way. And you see, of course in many places there's no impact because there's not a lot of change, but in many places there is a positive impact. Is there also a pointer here? Yes, a positive impact on endangered species. You can see that it's also, if you would compare it with the land abandonment, that's very often in that sort of places. But it's on the short term, in 20 years' time, okay. But also you see that there is negative impacts on endangered species, like here in the Czech Republic, in Poland, in Lithuania, but also in Sweden. In many places there's very negative effects on this sort of scenarios. Allowing nature to find its way, that's far the opposite. You see there's a lot more blue, so there's a lot more positive impacts. And of course, what we should take this sort of maps with a lot of care, because it is on a European level, and if you would zoom in, maybe it would not all fit. But for policy making on a European level, it is very helpful, because it makes clear, if you make also a quantification in hectares or a number of species, what is the effect of different visions and the pathways to the future. Well, we put this all in a roadmap, and you will get this presentation, so you can find everything also on the website. I took some copies of the roadmap and of this visions of the future Europe for those who are interested. And we made a lot of applications. You can see it also on the web. The Volante roadmap to a sustainable Europe. In fact, what the symbol is the former windmills in the Netherlands together with the modern windmills. Well, you should not throw away the good things of the past, and you should really work on a renewal of the land use in the rural area. I come to the conclusions. There is a general consensus emerging, at least in our representative stakeholder group, that multifunctionality, not monofunctionality, on different geographical scales, is a basic condition for livable Europe. Say, big assets of the beautiful landscape of Europe, well, they depend on multifunctionality. And if we go for monofunctional, well, we lose the landscape. Resource use efficiency should be increased, and the ecological footprint should be decreased. We should be far more efficient. Displacing the food production to outside Europe, this is not ethical. Of course, we can do that, but then we should also pay for it, and we should take care of the environment there. We should then, well, maybe do the same analysis, but on a higher level. Yes. And careful land use planning is required. And maybe in some places, like Wayne said, in some cities you should do it in a different way because you have a different background. The history is different, the cultural history. But you should take care of it and look forward, and not only to the next 4 years or the next 5 years, but to the next 20 years and maybe even further down. And the rural should support sustainable development in Europe. It's not the other way around. We should first look to the rural area and then see what development could the cities do. And that was also part of the solution of this metropolitan development areas. It is the whole development area that defines how the city can develop. So that the provision of services in rural areas can also be guaranteed. Well, we know in Europe and in Russia, that is the big problem. And the rural area is abandoning. People go away and come to Russia, to Moscow, to the big cities. And well, even agriculture is suffering from that. Again, we don't get what we want. Is what we say. Even if we embark on this scenario, the IPCC scenario, which is the most modest in economical development, it is already impossible to follow this route towards a multifunctional vision. It's just impossible because the market defines it in a different way. A small farmer in the Netherlands with 80 cows cannot survive. Maybe for the next 5 years. But then, well, he needs either to buy the land of his neighbor or just stop. 80 cows. It's a lot. But it is not rentable, it's not economic for the future because of the economic, the global economy. And that's something which we decide in the end of the day, but we don't decide, we as we sit here. Current trends lead to a polarized Europe, characterized by land sparing. So here, high-level agriculture, and there, multifunctional land use around the cities. Around Moscow, you still have sort of multifunctionality, but it will soon disappear because Moscow will expand. And that's in all metropolitan areas. The traditional family farm, but just take the small farms all over in Europe, but still now in Poland. Average farm size, maybe 10 hectares, 12 hectares. The farmer's wife, the children, they work there. It's not economic. If you take that serious, but the whole landscape will change. Because the European landscape was developed by the family farm for ages. For 800 years, for 1,000 years, for maybe 2,000 years. And in fact also in Russia. There are threats of uncontrolled land abandonment, biodiversity decrease, loss of ecosystem and landscape services, the decline of rural livability, and the volatility of the land market. Because people from China, from Brazil are buying land. People from Holland are buying land in Russia. But they can sell it again in 5 years' time. If the policy here in Russia changes, they sell it. And what happens then? So the predictability is decreasing and decreasing. And that's really the problem. Whereas, as we have seen in our stakeholder community, everyone wants it in a different way. You and me, and also the big directors of the big companies, they want it in a different way for themselves. But the market decides in a different way. Even in Russia. Third conclusion, policy implications, that's really the challenging part of it. There is a broad range of land use policy options needed to select the lowest cost base. So we need to be forward-looking. not only describing, but use our information to show the policymakers what is the effect of their decisions of today. The traditional assessment methods are not feasible anymore. They're not adequate to simulate visions that strongly depart from existing land use patterns. What we found is that multifunctionality is very difficult to model because the model is based on agricultural statistics. And agricultural statistics is based on farms. But if the farm has also a tourist enterprise in it, and they have a camping, and they have a farm shop, and they have something else, this is not in agricultural statistics. It is in statistics of tourism or whatever. And those statistics are really far apart. And we need to combine them. We need to be cross-sectoral. Land use governance is not adapted to multifunctionality either, because also the policy is in colors. Agriculture doesn't talk with environment. No, they're different. It's very different. And the regional differences, as with the metropolitan area, is usually taken as an opportunity, not as something, okay, we need to level it out. No, every region has their own specific character, and you should build on that. Hotspots of land use transition should be identified in an early stage, and that was the first map I showed, to prevent unintended irreversible changes, because the changes that are taking place are not policy-driven. They're driven by the economy. And the policy is just hobbling behind. Last, creative visionary thinking is really needed. And we as scientists have a task there. Cross-sectoral strategies, and repeat to be accommodated, out-of-the-box thinking to provide innovative combination of sectoral policy targets, where the wide range of possible futures should be narrowed down to, okay, maybe we don't get there, but then at least we get a little bit nearer to this, and then if we just do what we do. Long-term consequences of more multifunctional land use should be explored and assessed in terms of ecosystem services, not because of quantifying the economic value of ecosystem services, but because of the location, because of the extent of the different services and the interaction of them. Immediate values and cultural heritage, those should be included because that's important for people. And investment costs and trade-offs should be seriously evaluated, such as the displacement effects and the effects on biodiversity. There is a need for a visionary think tank, and I think if we would collaborate with all the universities of Europe, or MBU and Wageningen University, we could develop such ideas for a think tank, and maybe with other universities in Moscow as well, and other universities in Europe as well. Well, we have the knowledge. The policy people, they don't have the knowledge. Towards a sustainable European land use management for the future, well, we should bring the actors together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bas. Questions, please.
Bas, here is a very beautiful agricultural landscape. You speak about multifunctionality. If we speak about forests, I can imagine multifunctionality. It's almost clear. But what about agriculture? What multifunctionality can we see in this agricultural landscape? It is monofunctional. Could you give good examples of multifunctional use of agricultural areas? What are the most popular ways of providing this multifunctionality?
Well, the interesting thing, in Europe, this type of landscapes are very popular for bicycling, for walking, for visiting the farms here, because maybe this is a care farm with people, with handicapped people that work and take care of the trees there, because normally trees are not very nice in a farm. You want to get rid of them. But if you have workers like handicapped people that do not earn a lot of money because they are subsidized by health insurance companies, that could be another business model for a farm. You could have farm shops here you could have, well, the trees could also be used for biomass production. You could have areas which are less productive for agriculture. Could be used for biomass. There are many examples. So the thing is that as soon as you would be monofunctional in this landscape would not be interesting anymore for walking or bicycling. And then you would put a fence around it and say, well, this is agriculture, for something else you go somewhere else. And you would perhaps claim that this would reduce the production of agricultural products. And in a sense, it may be true, but not in the end of the day, because this multifunctional land use could require a lot more people, so that you could work on the intensity as well, but on a small scale.
What about farmers? Are they interested in providing these multiple services, or they prefer to cultivate some crops and nothing else? What are their priorities?
This is a very good question. Most of the farmers I speak with are interested in that sort of models, but they are under the pressure of the bank. Because they invested in new machinery, they invested in new buildings, they invested in seeds. So they are under pressure to pay back. And they say, I can't. I would like to do a little bit more of nature conservation on my area, to make hedgerows, to have more birds and rare plants on my farm, because my father's farm looks very different. But I have to do it, because otherwise I cannot transfer the farm to my kids.
Is there a difference between, for example, farmer in Netherlands and farmer in Poland? I think there could be some difference in this attitude.
The point is that I agree with you. In Poland, it's not like that yet. But we can see that in the years, in the 50s and the 60s, in the Netherlands, we have reorganized our agriculture from the 10-hectare scale to the 100-hectare scale, and we lost a lot. Now in Poland, they're doing the same, and they're making the same mistakes, in my opinion. It's also a matter of awareness. It's a matter of, combination of the values and the interests of the urban people and the rural people. If we as urban people say, but we find it important that the cows are in the meadow and not only in the stable, well, we pay maybe a little bit more for the milk. But we have, in the end of the day, we have very much more pretty landscape. Everything has a sort of trade-off.
But if I may interrupt for a second, the point is not that the farmer would not like to provide those services. Yes, they would like to do so, but they also would like to be paid for those services.
Exactly.
And that is the whole point. For example, if you take the example of care farms, right? It is not that the farmer would provide this service for nothing.
No.
If the farmer take care of certain, say, for example, people, right, that are ill or something like that, they come into the farm and they have a daycare, for example, there. The farmer is quite well paid for that. Okay, so that is a service provided. And the same, by the way, for landscape, caring for the landscape is also paid for by the government. So if there is a marketing model available for the farmer, a business model, if you like, then these services are being provided.